Yes, y'all. It's the phrase that pays. Guys, welcome back to Pencil to Pencil. I'm very excited. Also, I am. Yeah, Mike's nodding his head. He's like, yeah. I also know there are a lot of people that are watching us tonight that have never watched this before. I'm excited for you. That's the most exciting thing for me tonight. I'm excited for you, dear viewer, to witness what we do here. Let's do some intros. My name is JAMAR Nicholas. I am the first of your expert cartoonists that's going to be hosting our show tonight. I wear many hats besides this bucket hat I wear every week. I am the second vice president of the National Cartoonist Society. That's got to stand for something. Also in that vein, I am the chapter chair of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Go Birds. I have a middle grade graphic novel series at Scholastic under the Graphics imprint. Leon the Extraordinary is the name of that series. Worst Friends Forever is in stores now. Leon 3, title to be announced, will be in stores next fall. Not this fall, next fall. I am very excited to introduce you my co-host, cohort, and co-conspirator. He is, I think he just got booked for a title defense. Because he had a, what do you call it? When you win the belt, but off camera, like you won it in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and you just show up the next week with the belt. He is the new world heavyweight champion of webcomics. Just, you got to let it sink in. By God, it's Stone Cold Steve Conley. What's up, Steve Conley?
Gentlemen, it is so good to see you.
Yes,
Hi, my name is Steve Conley. I write and draw the webcomic The Middle Age, which you can read over on Webtoons, Tapas, Go Comics. It's over on Fables.pro. It's over on Global Comics, and you can read it at middleagecomic.com if I haven't said that already. And I also make Dungeons and Dragons books. So if you play the Dungeons and the Dragons, you can check out steveconley.com. And the next one that's going to be kickstarted is called Stabracadabra. If you go to stabracadabra.com, it's for cursed swords and stuff like that.
I love it.
But I would be remiss if I didn't introduce the Tower of Power, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. He drew your childhood. He's Darkhawk's daddy. He does 2 daily comic strips. Unbelievable. It's the maestro, Mr. Mike Manley.
Oh, good evening, everyone.
Hello, sir.
My name is Mike Manley. I am just turned the like an old flashback where you see the calendar pages fly off. I just turned my 41st year as a professional cartoonist this year. So, and yep, I've currently my main day job. They're doing the 2 strips, Judge Parker and the Phantom, but I have something else to talk about tonight that we can bring up.
Sure.
Do tell.
It was a year ago. A friend of mine, Shannon Eric Denton, approached me along with a bunch of other guys, including our old former co-host Brett Blevins, to do stories for a fun sort of retro 70s love letter to those old like 70s monster comics. And so I did a short story for that, which is we launched the Kickstarter. Well, I guess not. What is a Zoop starter? I don't know what you a Zoop today.
That sounds delicious.
It launched, and I got to do a short story, let's see. I'm just going to show some art from it. But
Steve, can you grab that?
Yep.
Window.
And I'll put this link in the chat so they can actually do something with it.
There we go.
So I did this character. It's a short story. It's a character called Death Rock.
It's a great name.
It's like this, he's sort of like a Johnny Blaze crossed with Frankenstein. He's like a motorcycle guy. So I did the pencils traditional, but then I inked them digital. Um,
How many pages did you do, Mike?
I think it's 8. It's 8 pages.
That's great.
8
Oh, I love those textures.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there he is. So he's sort of like he's like a Johnny Blaze rock and roll guy, motorcycle guy, who then turns into this like giant rock and roll Frankenstein. So so that was a lot of fun. You know, just a short little story. There's the cover. I actually penciled and inked both digital. So I penciled it digital and inked it digital. So a lot of fun, you know, just a fun, short, little quick hit. I love doing those kinds of things. Brett did a story. Steve Gordon did a story. Rick Holberg did a story. But if you check out the link there, there's a whole bunch of great artists who contributed to it. So it's just like, you know, the kind of comics I used to like as a kid where you got to do an anthology. I used to love those eerie and creepy and Vampirella, and I used to love getting those House of Secrets and House of Mystery and things like that. I always thought they were great because you would get a whole bunch of really good artists, and they would, you know, everybody could do like an 8-page story. Story, you know.
I think the moment of the anthology is starting to like maybe come back around.
Yeah, it's weird because it was really common for me ever since I was a kid. I mean, even Mad Magazine is an anthology, you can think about it, because it's all these short little stories, right? It seemed like the anthology kind of fell out of favor because when I started doing Action Planet, that's what I did. I did an anthology. And it was sort of strange when I found out that a lot of people their current fans don't like the anthology.
Well, they were a hard sell in the retail market because it's like, you know, if a book had a less than stellar contribution to it, then it kind of hurt the whole project. But in terms of Kickstarters and things like that and crowdfunding like Zoop, it's great because you have the fan bases of all the contributors all coming to the project and supporting it. So I think crowdfunding has really helped anthologies come back.
Yeah, and anybody can kick out a 7-8 page story, right? It's hard to commit to do a huge book if you got to draw 90. Say they tell you to draw like 90% of it before you even advertise it. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of like being out in the field every day, raising up your crop of art. So
I like art. That's fantastic. Well, I encourage everybody to go check out that. And does Zoop run the same way as Kickstarter? Like, is there a moment when it shuts off, or is it just like kind of evergreen?
Yeah, I think it's 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different stretch goals. There's a bunch of different. You can get like a digital edition. You get editions that are signed. I mean, there's so many. I just saw it today, so I know the Monster Forge guys have been working on it for a while, and there's all kinds of different ways you can get it now, which seems to be pretty typical. I think everybody, because not everyone wants a comic. Somebody just they don't want a physical comic. They're happy to have a digital copy.
Right.
And then some people want both, So
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys. Thank you for that, Mike. Also, let me clear the screen here. All right, you guys. So this is what you've been waiting for, right? Usually, your expert hosts have a lot of banter, but I know that the chat is vibrating because they want to see the man, right? And I don't want to keep you waiting. But I want to give you guys some rules of engagement. Again, like I said, if this is your first time here, hello. This is a weekly live cast brought to you by 3 expert cartoonists. Just everybody on the screen has decades of experience in the cartooning, animation, creativity field. So what you're going to witness tonight is not a 20 questions OMG conversation. We're going to do what they call shop talk. So you might get to see a different side of Bryan tonight it's almost like if Mike called me up or Bryan up or Steve up on the phone, and we talk about what's on your desk, what's going on in the world, all those other type of things. And the creativity comes from around it. So this isn't a starter question conversation, but there's going to be a lot of points where you guys can interact with us. If you have a question you'd like to ask Bryan or the three of us, please put in the chat. You don't have to spam your question. Once you put it in there, I'll see it, or Steve will see it. The way these shows work is that we're just going to have a natural conversation, and as things develop, we'll pepper in the questions. And if we wind up with a lot at the end, we'll do what we call question palooza, where we'll fire off a bunch of questions for Bryan at one point. All right. So don't get itchy in the chat if you feel like we're not getting to you. We're seeing it. All right, guys.
Get your chemical lotion out.
Yeah, I just gotta give people some rules of engagement, guys. I'm very excited. I think Bryan's going to get his master's jacket tonight. He has been on this program more than twice. This is his third time tonight. He's no stranger to the podcast. He's no stranger to you. He's also one of my good buddies, BRYAN LEE O'MALLey. Yes, you know the name, is in the green room waiting to speak with you tonight. So let's waste no more time. Let's bring this man in. Hold on. Prepare for rendering. Welcome to Pencil to Pencil, BRYAN LEE O'MALLey. Ping! I'm hoping one day somebody will do the Terminator intro where you're just like butt naked in an alley like this, covered in electricity. Not necessarily you, but someone.
All of our guests have to be butt naked, steaming in an alley.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I was just watching a couple weeks ago.
Oh, the OG one, right?
The OG, yeah.
It really holds up. It really
I love that one.
It almost feels like it gets better the closer we get to that actually. With that, Mal, did you find anything new that you didn't pick up on, like when you've seen it maybe a couple of years ago? Anything new you picked up?
I don't know. This time I was mostly thinking about how it's such an LA movie. I know I've lived in LA for like 15 years now, so like I kind of recognize every location in every LA movie now. So it's like a different experience, and it's like they're running around like areas I've been to, or in Terminator 2, like they're all in the valley, like which is where I live now. So it's like it's all like kind of in a world that makes sense to me, like the same way. I set Scott Pilgrim in Toronto when I lived there. It's like I've been wanting to do something set in LA, so I just kind of picked up on that more this time.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm surprised to find out that there's still stuff that's standing from this movie from the 80s. Like one of the funny things that happens here, like in Philly, is that you can go through Trading Places, the old Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd movie, and go, that place isn't there anymore. I remember that used to be over there, and it's gone now. But Jamie Lee Curtis is still around, so that's good. But yeah, there's a lot of charm in that stuff, and it's got a lasting appeal. What brought you to watching that? Is you just kind of flipping channels, or? I
don't remember. Well, I've been listening to a lot of this podcast, Blank Check, this year, because they asked me to do some art for them in like January, and I ended up listening to like almost every episode, and it's like 600 episodes or something. So anytime I've watched a movie in the past 6 months, it's generally because like it got mentioned on this podcast, and I was like threw it on. So
that's super cool. That's cool. Are there any I have in the back of my head that I want to watch RoboCop every year.
Oh man, yeah.
Shout out to Mike Manley from Detroit. I feel like RoboCop is must-see watching. That, and not so much Predator, but RoboCop I need to watch, and Poltergeist.
I mean, another thing I was thinking while watching that is like those movies now are as old as like 40s movies when we were kids.
It's true. It's
so
true.
Yeah, it's like the old movies that seemed old to me when I was a kid don't seem that old anymore. You know, the movies my mom always loved were like black and white movies from the 40s, and it's just like it seemed ancient. But yeah, it's literally like me watching Terminator.
Right.
There's a quick question in the chat. Carl Jerm Webb says, OG Terminator or T2, which one is better?
I mean, they both have their merits. Carl's a friend of mine. He's a Philly guy.
Yo,
shout out to Carl. I honestly can't pick. Like, I saw T2 when I was a kid. I didn't see Terminator till I was probably in my late 20s or something. They both hit in different ways. Terminator is just kind of like lean and mean. Like it just starts and it goes. And then, you know, the second one is like such an epic, and the scale of the action, truck chases and stuff. Like it's incredible. It still holds up. They're both really good. So I couldn't pick.
They're really, there's no fat on either one of those films.
No.
Yeah.
I would imagine too that one of the things about when you know the place the movie is shot, when you watch the movie, if you don't live in LA or New York or whatever, I remember they shot a movie in Prescott, Arizona, that's where Brett lives. And I know the city fairly well because I've been there a bunch of times. And then they would cut from scene to scene, and then they would be in a car and go down the street and turn, and then like suddenly they're like way across town in like a completely different alley. It's like, wait a minute.
There's a lot of that in Terminator. And there's some other movies I watched recently that do the same thing. Like they'll turn the camera and it's like a completely different part of town. But there's two that I just thought of that are good on that. One I was rewatching recently was Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance. They do this huge chase like down Manhattan, like 50 blocks, and it's like the geography is like really on point and like the real locations. So that one really blows me away. I had another one, but now it went out of my mind. But yeah.
Yeah, shout out to location scouts because they make it all work.
Well, I think it was easier back then too. Like nowadays, it's much harder to get those locations or whatever taxes and stuff. So
all the taxes. So, Mal, let's start here. I'm glad that we don't have to rehash origin stories and all of that. And one thing that's been on my mind about every time we get to catch up, because our last time we talked to you was, I don't know where the time was. It was a year ago already. Like you were one.
It was it was like 18 months ago, I think. Yeah, last spring. Yeah,
when Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I think it had already debuted, and you were kind of playing catch up with.
Yeah, I looked at it was like in March or April, so it was like 3 or 4 months after the show was out. But it was still pretty fresh.
And so from there, got announced a little while ago that there's a new Scott Pilgrim game in production that'll debut next year, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And I'll let you talk about all that stuff. I'm still hyping it up. And also that I'm also a big fan of is that can I call it a toy line? Can we be that bold to call your
I guess it's a line. There's more than 2 characters now, so it's getting to be a line.
Yeah.
And we'd like it to continue. So it's at least the start of a line.
Yeah.
The nub.
I like the nub. So I mean to that point, every time we talk, there's new things to talk about.
Yeah, right? And I'm not completely stagnant.
No.
I feel like I'm being blocked by my name tag. All right, that's better.
We can move you up a little bit. So maybe my first question to you, and then I'll kind of take my foot off of the gas here, is how do you maintain what's on your plate? Are you kind of going into your day like office hours? Do you put out whatever fire is burning the hottest? Do you have a kind of what I call here in my studio a throw it on the stack approach, and you just kind of pull things down and work on it and put it over there? Like, how are you approaching all these things that you're dealing with?
Yeah, it is kind of putting out fires. The game has kind of been the main thing, just because it requires a lot of attention. And then the other thing is like they live on the East Coast. So they're already like halfway through their day by the time I hit the office. So I always have stuff to do when I get up. So that's generally been my first thing. And then, we've been working on the toys a lot lately. The toys have been really slow. Like obviously we announced the new toys, like, or at least we teased them like by the end of last year. So it took a longer time than we expected to get it all moving. But those are out. So now we're happy there. The game is scheduled for sometime next year, first half of next year, I think. Yeah, actually, like, I've been like basically in crunch mode on the game the last couple of weeks, and I'm still kind of in it, so I'm a little bit like game brained right now.
Right. I was talking to somebody the other day about how it seems like everybody's hobbies have been kind of commodified, right? It's like you must be wasting your time if you like video games, but now you got to make them, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering about that. Were there things, because this is the second game at this point, do you feel like anything has changed with your love of gaming versus working on games, or being in the middle of like doing turns and, you know, sprite edits and things like that? How is that all fitting in for you?
No, I mean, I spent all weekend playing Dragon Quest 3, so I just needed a break from my game, so I played a different game on the same screen with the same controller. So you know, it wasn't really any better for my posture, but it was a nice break mentally. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like I keep saying this to people, but like, yeah, I feel like I'm 10 years old. Like I used to make up fake games. Like I could probably pull a bunch out right here. But yeah, when I was a little kid, like I would just draw levels onto my favorite games, you know, Mario, Mega Man, and stuff like that, and make up my Mega Man guys, and like so it just feels like that. Like, and I get to work with this great team who know what they're doing, and I just get to kind of stupidify everything that they're doing. Like, that's kind of my job, is just like make it feel more like Scott Pilgrim, which often means like dumb it down.
What is the germination of, you know, of the game? Do they approach you and you go, okay, yeah, well, yeah, sounds good to make a game, and do you come up with the type of game, the structure of the game? You know, how do you build it? You know, are you giving them a is it a sort of a back and forth, like, well, this is a first person game, or, you know, it's sort of like Final Fantasy where you're looking down at it, you know?
Right. Well, we had a lot of those questions answered already for us, because it, you know, I worked with this team before. So like, I'll go back to the beginning. Like the first game was done concurrently with the movie. So that was in 2009, mostly. It was done at the studio in Montreal. And then, you know, it kind of like it came out. It got kind of truncated in the design stage, like in the production stage, and it came out, and it's pretty good. You know, people liked it, and then a few years later, it got delisted because it was only available digitally. And then it kind of became this like people would make like long YouTube videos about like why it was delisted and why that was a bad thing, and so it kind of became this like poster child for preservation of digital media. So like, you know, it's been on people's minds for a long time. It got re-released around 2021 finally, and then, yeah, that kind of got the ball rolling for us talking about doing a new game, like with a lot of the guys from the same team, and with Universal Publishing this time. So it's just like Universal was trying to get into more games, and they had this, and they, you know, the IP, whatever, they liked how Scott Pilgrim Takes Off was doing, and, you know, so we kind of, off the momentum of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the show, we kind of got this contracts signed up for this and everything. But yeah, creatively, yeah, it's like every day is just like, the beginning was they pitched us something. The initial pitch, like I was working with my friend Ben David, who we co-wrote the show together. So we pitched them back our version of the story, and then every day it's just like, here's what we're doing, and then I just say like, here's how we could make it better. I mean, it's like officially I'm a consultant on the game, so that is like literally all I'm doing is consulting. But yeah, I ended up doing a lot of art. I'm drawing the main cover art for the game and stuff like that.
That's very cool.
It's not as intensive as working on the show.
No, not at all. But it is still like a lot of work.
Gotcha.
So they're framing it based upon the narrative of the show and breaking that into levels, kind of?
No. So like we kind of went away from that. We're just basically just doing a game that has its own unique story, and you know, has some references back to the anime, but also to the movie, to the comics. Like I know people find different ways into Scott Pilgrim nowadays. You know, I did this big tour last year and I met so many people, and it's just like, yeah, everyone's story is different. Everyone comes from a different direction. So it's just like trying to, you know, make something where people can meet in the middle.
That's really great.
How interesting is that for you to, like, it's been around long enough now that you've got like almost like a couple generations of people.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are big fans of the Turtles, right? There's like the original Turtles, and then but there are people that are fans of like the third version of the Turtles,
right?
You know, so
that is literally how it is. Yeah, and Turtles have been the best model for me to look at, really, because it's like they kind of came from the same place of being like a black and white comic that was kind of a shit post to begin with, and then it just takes on its own life. So yeah, now I have young people who love the Netflix show and, like, you know, don't like the movie or haven't read the books or whatever, and they come from all directions. So it's just and plus it's like it's gone super international in a way you could never have anticipated. So it's just like, yeah, you know, Brazil is out there, whatever, like, you know, they all have their own needs and stuff.
What are the Brazil fans like, say, compared to the American? What resonates with them? Have you noticed?
Oh, they're better. Hopefully someone from Brazil is in the chat. Oh, they're amazing. No, I don't know. Well, they're, you know, they're passionate. Brazilians are well known for being passionate, but I have a lot of Latin America too. So it's just like, it's just really interesting. It's gone so much further than I would have expected. And yeah, they all kind of take it in their own way.
Mal, I was watching some videos on YouTube. Once in a while, I'll just kind of this is want to come off as being stalky or anything, but I just kind of want to see what people are saying about my friends.
Oh,
you know
videos about me?
Well,
I was like, oh, you were watching some videos? No way.
Yeah. And you know, it's really, I just watched one. It's kind of almost like a lore dump of BRYAN LEE O'MALLEY. It's got to be surreal to even know that stuff's out there. Not to say that you have time to be watching that stuff.
There's one that I watched. Maybe you're talking about the same one, because the guy did an interview with me.
Oh yeah, I think it was Matt with 8 T's.
Yeah, Matt with a bunch of T's.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job, except he picked a really ugly thumbnail, clearly on purpose. So
I was going to talk about that. Like, they found the worst picture of you. And
like he found like literally the worst picture ever taken of me, you know, from a bad angle with flash, like from like 2007 or something. So it just like, I know he wanted, it was like part of his narrative, like that I was like some schlub who like made good, you know?
Yeah. What it was like, unknown Canadian cartoonist does good.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, like he was pretty on point. Like I've seen other things and, you know, whatever written things that just get a lot of facts wrong. So that's part of why I talked to him that time. Like I was just like, get some facts right, man. Like, because people, you know, these days, like you'll read something on Wikipedia and you'll kind of gloss it over, and people kind of make up this like Frankenstein narrative in their heads. And I'm the one who was there.
Right.
So I tried to set them straight.
I think the biggest thing I've seen over time is when there's one of the sites that try to guess your net worth. I'm like, you guys are entirely wrong about
it. It's all just made up.
Yeah, like that is not true. But you know, to the point that you have to maybe not so much police it, but you're aware of it. Like, oh, this is floating through the internet, that this is not a true statement.
Well, it's none of my business for the most part. You know, people can say what they want to say. Really it's just like when someone asks me directly, I would like to be truthful, because it's all I got.
So to that, I'm glad you brought up the Turtles, because, you know, as you know, we kind of keep going down this road. It seems like you have so many corollaries with like Eastman and Laird at this point. And you know, right, and talking about like managing an IP grenade like Scott Pilgrim has to, and please don't get me wrong, it has to be more work than people expect it to be. You know, I love that you have you have fandom that now is spanning generations. How dope is that? You know what I mean? But then in the middle of it is you, who's just kind of absorbing all of this stuff all of the time.
Yeah, and I never set up a company or anything. I don't have an assistant. I don't have like you know, any kind of management. So yeah, it could literally just be my full-time job, and a lot of days I just kind of let it be.
Yeah.
Because it does take time. Just to, even if I'm just like approving stuff or making notes, like this still could take all day. Which seems so stupid as a cartoonist. Like I could be doing so much more with my time, but yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that has to be me because I've defined Scott Pilgrim as like whatever I say it is. So it's like if it's not me saying it, then it just feels wrong. And that's kind of like what happens on the game. It's just like every day they'll send me stuff and I'm like, this is close, but what if we did it this way? And then you know, kind of just sort of punching stuff up or just kind of weirding stuff out a little bit. But yeah, I think it's I mean, Eastman and Laird, like I'm glad I didn't have a partner to eventually have an acrimonious separation with. I mean, obviously I had a divorce, but that's not quite the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
I heard in the beginning, I remember talking to someone that knew them. And actually it was a waitress in a diner I used to go to, I forget which one. She knew them as a kid. And they said, as soon as it like blew up, there were people that were like suing them and going like, I said Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles on the bus in 3rd grade and you stole my idea. Like immediately people started like glomming, and they spent a lot of money and time in the beginning just dealing with like nuisance lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff you never imagined you would have to do just because you drew a comic book.
Yeah, I think I got pretty lucky there too. I never had anyone coming out of the woodwork for me really. But maybe it's also like that Universal got involved pretty early, so I had kind of like a corporate shield pretty early on, in case anyone wanted to sue me. And now it's like on this game, like it still says copyright BRYAN LEE O'MALLEY like on the screen, so that's kind of nice. You know, somehow I navigated it in a way where I do at least have that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And you know, to that point, and now, and I said this the last time you were on, I still find it very marvelous as we're getting older and you still have fans who have touch points from, you know, like we've said in the past, you know, 20 something years ago when the first graphic novel came out, people got on there. My once removed cousin who found out about there were Scott Pilgrim books because he saw them on my shelf. It was like, yo, I just watched it on Netflix. There's books. It was like,
yeah, I remember one of my friends back in the day, like his little baby would carry Scott Pilgrim around because it was pink, the 3rd volume, and she must be like 25 now. So yeah, time flies. Yeah, my career is half as old as Mike's career, so getting up there.
Yeah, but you manage it well. And one of the things I was watching, I think it was that old cartoonist kayfabe interview, and the guys were asking you about what your team looks like. And that's always a really interesting conversation. The further we get up in this stuff, you seem to attract like personnel to a point. You know what I mean? Like there's agents or there's publicists or there's these people in the middle of things. But it seems like you've kept it really streamlined.
Yeah, I don't remember what my answer would have been. But yeah, I mean, I pretty much just have Judy, my agent. You know, she's a real killer. She's a real go-getter. So you know, we're all dreading like when she gets older and, you know, moves on, whatever. But it's like no one else can really do what she does. So I'm lucky to have her. And like if I didn't have her specifically, I would probably need a bigger team.
All right, let's go to the chat here. Steve, you see anything you want to pick up for?
There were a few. There's a big one here. We kind of touch base on some of the stuff we talked in the previous episodes. But a comment here from Juan Albaran.
What's up, Juan?
I didn't read or drew comics for over 10 years, and Scott Pilgrim is the comic that brought me back to both reading and drawing. And Juan's an incredible artist.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I just saw that. Thought, we have to highlight that.
I feel like I have stuff like that too. Because I was definitely out for a while, like in high school and college, kind of, and yeah, I don't know. Stuff brought me back. I totally feel that. I
Uh,
can't remember what exactly brought me back, but it was probably like an X-Men comic. Even now, like I'm stumbling on stuff like that's old that I never saw that I suddenly am like, oh my god, I'm suddenly reinvigorated with the love for comics. So,
And is this stuff like you've had and meant to read? It's just sitting in a pile, or you hitting a bookshop or a comic shop?
a bit of both. I've been eBaying a lot of Japanese manga this year.
Mm.
Just kind of homing in on stuff that I never saw before. Finding a bunch of new to me artists that are, have been around for 30, 40 years, and they rock. Earlier when Mike was showing his art,
yeah.
I was going to ask Mike, are you into Frank Thorne?
Oh yeah, I like Frank Thorne. He's definitely
a great like Red Sonja artist. Yeah.
Yeah. But I even like a lot of his stuff from the 50s. He was really good a long time ago, and sort of like a cross between Hubert and Toth. He was in that wheelhouse. He did this strip called Dr. Guy Bennett back in the day, and then he did a lot of stuff for like Gold Key, like was it Mighty Samson or whatever. They're really just great storytelling, very much like what Toth was doing back in the day. Yeah, I really liked his stuff.
Yeah, he's great. He draws the best girls, women.
Very simply. And makes it look really easy when it's really not.
Yeah, he must have been a big influence on lots of people, John Byrne and stuff. Yeah, he's great. That's one of the guys I've gotten into the last few years. He got very porny in his later years, it seems like, but he draws really beautiful women, and it's just really dynamic, lots of energy.
That's what Al Williamson used to call him, horny Frank Thorny.
It's always a character with a sword, and so someone does a fantasy comic that kind of gets a little tired sometimes. Like the pose is you're limited by this kind of prop you have, and he always found a way to mix it up. I think his covers are gorgeous.
He did Ribbit, and then he did Lan, was like a science fiction.
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah.
So, go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
And if folks are looking for Frank Thorne, it's Thorne. So if you're going to start scouring eBay, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, check out his Red Sonja.
Are you picking up certain mangaka from these your deep dive now, or are you following series? I guess it's kind of the same thing with mangaka, right?
Yeah, but I still don't get into like most. If there's a series that's more than like 10 books, I kind of check out. Like, so if I see one that's like 25 volumes, I'm just like, eh. And then some of them are like 60, and also they're amazing, but I don't have time for that. I don't have room for that. But I bought this huge set. I'm not gonna be able to remember anyone's names, but yeah, I found a couple of artists that just really blew me away, and bought a lot of their stuff, a wide variety, like decades worth of stuff, and just watching them kind of develop. There's this one great artist, Miyasu Nonki, who someone turned me on to him. Oh, that guy, Japan Book Hunter, turned me on to him. Yeah, and I've just been picking up a lot of his stuff. He, like, similar to Frank Thorne, like he draws like just incredible women. Like his kind of like dimensionality is really, really good. And yeah, he's become one of my favorites that I never heard of, but he was mostly active in the 80s and 90s.
I was thinking about. Go ahead, Steve.
Do you know how to spell that? I would love to put that in chat.
Oh yeah, Miyasu is his first name, and then Nonki is his last name.
Is he still alive, or did he pass away?
I don't know. I forget. I've been researching too many guys. Some of them have passed away recently. I think he's still around. But yeah, I got into this book of his, or Sean, Japan Book Hunter, sent me a book of his called Refresh. That was like a short story collection, and it's from like 85 or something. And then he went on to do a whole bunch more stuff in the 90s, and it's all very hard to find, but it's like so beautiful when I find it. And he gets very Like there's a lot of boobs, a lot of naked boobies in his books, but they're kind of like for kids at the same time. Like, so it's just one of those weird Japanese cultural things.
The chat says he's still alive, so that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah, I was watching. I've been rewatching Miyazaki stuff lately, and there's always those panty shots. No matter what, there's constantly always like wind blowing up some girl's skirt or what. I mean, that's just part of their whole thing. You know, it's just like it's just the way, you know, like Disney always had the thing about the butt, people getting poked in the butt or stabbed in the butt, like they do. You know.
Yep.
How do you feel about? And there weren't a lot that I can think of off the top of my head, but a couple of Japanese cartoonists who kind of penetrated American comics, like Kia Asamiya, who are really. I'm a big Steam Detectives guy. If you've seen that, which kind of feels a lot like Giant Robo and Big O and that kind of stuff, and a little Inspector Gadget in there, or Kenshi Sonata, the Gunsmith Cats, and Riding Bean and things like that. How do you have any kind of connection to any of those guys who are doing kind of like American things, or even like Dark Horse is bringing this stuff over?
Yeah, I mean, Kenichi Sonoda is one of my all-time guys.
Yeah,
he's great. I met him at Comic-Con. I mean, I was introduced to him. I probably already said this on the show before, but like, my old buddy Eric at Udon printed something by him a couple of years ago and had him at Comic-Con, and I just got to meet him briefly.
That's super cool.
You know, he runs this like 300-year-old candy shop now or something like that. It's been in his family forever, called Sonodaya.
Wow.
You know, it's like, he left his family business to go draw comics for 30, 40 years. And then now he's back running the business, like, which is such a cool story.
Wow. Yeah.
That is super cool. Yeah. Could you see yourself running a candy shop
No.
in like 30 years?
No, I mean, I don't have any like family tradition like that. You know, everyone's scattered to the winds from my family. I have a bunch of his books up here. Like he was one of the guys that I was kind of collecting pretty early on for art books and things, because he has a ton of art books. He did a lot of anime, and he has some great manga. Gunsmith Cats is the best one though.
So good. Yeah, that Kickstarter that came out a couple of years ago with the DVD and some art books, like I had to cop that. You know.
Oh, I think I missed that. I used to have I have a Sailor Moon wall scroll behind me. But I used to have a Gunsmith Cats one, like in high school. It was like yellow and had Raleigh running with a gun. Like, it was so cool. I don't know what happened to it, and I've never been able to find another one. But I would put it up if I could find another one.
I love it. There's something for the chat to go do. There's a question from our good buddy Francis, who goes, "Oh, dude, that wasn't what I wanted to post. My bad." The chat's
I don't like AR either.
The chat's moving too
AR.
fast. Rock Studio says, Brian, do you have any British artists you like? Like, for example, Philip Bond.
Yeah, I love Philip Bond. He's great. I've met him a couple times. He's a sweet guy. Obviously, Jamie Hewlett was a big influence on me, especially in my early days. Like, I remember when the first Gorillaz song came out, I listened to that one song on repeat all night and drew all night. So yeah, that, I don't know, like that. And it wasn't just because of the music. I mean, I was already obsessed with Hewlett.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is British.
I always talk about this on the show. I'm a big Paul Grist fan.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he still doesn't get enough love. Like I want to show up at people's doors and talk about the gospel.
Yeah. Another younger guy. Who's the guy who does Hilda? Luke.
Right.
Oh,
Luke
yeah.
something. Yeah. I met him early on too when I was out in the UK one time, and like he's had so much success, like Netflix show and everything. So good for him.
I like the show, and from that I ended up looking at a bunch of the graphic novels, and it's always sort of interesting to see how the style will evolve. Like, I think your stuff looks like you more than Hilda looks like him, like the Hilda cartoon.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
It's tough. It's weird, and we talked about that when I was on last time. But yeah, when I look back at the show now, I just like it looks like the show. It doesn't look like me, but that was the intention, was to make it look like kind of an evolved version of me. But yeah, it's like there's so many artists working on it, and then obviously there's also been so much fan art of it.
Yeah.
So I think over time it kind of has flattened out in my mind a little bit.
One other question about collecting artists and looking at reference from other artists. How are you feeling about collecting objects at this point? Because we're all running out of space.
Yeah, I don't buy as much stuff. I've almost exclusively been buying manga this year, and I mean, and other books too. Yeah, sticking to books. Still need to get more shelves. I got another shelf. One of my friends moved away and left a shelf, so I got an extra Billy from IKEA for free. So that helps a little bit. Nice. But I need like more of those. Yeah, I don't know what other junk have I bought. So like my wife's into K-pop, so she buys stuff like at a way faster clip than I do. So she's like filling up this big room upstairs with K-pop stuff, and it's not just CDs or paper goods. It's like it's all kinds of stuff. They market their stuff with like everything under the sun. It'll be like a box, and it just like has some random crap in it. So yeah, she's just I don't know. So she makes me feel better about myself.
I was wondering, thinking about your last comment about fan art and stuff. Now, it must be sort of interesting or I would think, to see fan art and to see what people reflect back to you of your own work, of your own process, that maybe you're not even aware of. You know what I mean? Like when you see 20 years of people drawing your character, right? And do you see do you notice things about your own, you learn something about yourself in a way when you see that, when you see what so many divergent people pick up on? And have do you learn anything about yourself or see some core things that maybe you didn't think about before?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know how to answer it though. I feel like fans would tell you like I don't see shit. Like I don't know what I'm doing. And my style is like so all over the place. But I also like forget the details of my characters constantly, so I can't keep up with it. So when I see the fan art, like I'm often very impressed. Like there's a lot of talent out there. Often they make it look way better. When I was young, I would like resent that. Like, you trying to make me look bad by drawing my character better than me? Like, all right. But now it's like I'm obviously like 25 years older than most of these fan artists. So it's just like it's so cool. It's so sweet. I wish I could hire all of them. Usually it's not that easy to like reach out to them even. Like I don't know how to handle it. And I try not to like follow back like fan artists, but then some of them like evolve into working artists and stuff. So it's really cool. I've been around long enough where that the Scott Pilgrim kind of like lovers have like grown into the fabric of culture now. So it's not just me, but it's like the people after me have also kind of like evolved into what we're seeing all around us.
Because I think it's an interesting thing when you have a style, right?
Right,
like,
right, yeah.
I like the quote.
We generally don't think of our stuff as a style ourselves when
yeah.
Like I'm sure Jack Kirby didn't go like, oh, I'm drawing a Jack Kirby. That's just the way he drew.
Yeah.
Then you see it reflected back. So you sort of see like, it's like a mirror. It's like, but sometimes it's weird. Sometimes it's really cool. Sometimes it's kind of close,
Yeah, I think we talked about last time, like for the anime, you know, this really talented professional character designer like kind of streamlined all the character designs and did these great turnarounds for them, and the studio released those on Twitter. So now thousands, millions of young people have seen those and have kind of like absorbed them. So I see a lot of young fan artists come out the gate like with the style on lock, like better than I could ever have it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they got an unfair advantage. Like, again, like I see this from a point of resentment. I'm just like, I didn't know how to draw Scott Pilgrim at first. That's why he looks bad at first. But then other people are like, no, the early Scott Pilgrim is the only real Scott Pilgrim. He looks way better in the first book when he looks crappy, because that's more authentic. And it's like, yeah, that's fair too. Like it's true, but I can't recapture that. So it's like, it would be easier if I just start following the anime character designs like on some level, because it's like right there and it helps. It's reference.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a model sheet that I never made for myself. If I had made a model sheet, maybe it would have been stuck in volume 1 forever. And I would have grown to resent my own model sheet, because I'm just a creature of resentments.
Now, I hope I didn't ask you this before, but with all of the kind of like the reprints and the reintroductions of the graphic novels, like I got to show you this because I love the design. Who designed this, man?
Oh yeah, I got one right here.
Oh
Patrick Crotty from Piao, you know, the publisher Piao.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known that guy for years, and he does the greatest book design. And I was like, you got to work on this. So yeah,
Are you kidding?
can't really. It's so blown out in your life, but
yeah, I see it. There you go.
Yeah, no, he's an incredible designer, younger guy, and yeah, I just paid him a lot of money to do a cool design, and I was worth every penny. Like it's just like.
Right.
It's so cool. I'm glad Oni Press kind of ponied up, and you know, he used to work for Random House for a while, so he's kind of like a big shot.
Yeah.
We went to the Eisners together this year. We were up for the design Eisner, but it was up against the Batman Year One Mazzucchelli Artist Edition, like the beautiful giant Chip Kid designed. So it's like, we're gonna lose. We lost. We knew we would lose. Yeah. Patrick's so funny because he used to work for Chip Kid, and he was just like, "I'll get you later, Chip Kid."
At least you enjoyed the crab cake, I hope.
Yeah, it was still a fun night.
So my question about this is, like, every time this stuff gets kind of introduced, like this really great box set, and there's like a color box set and things, have you kind of made peace with yourself to not want to go back and like just fix things, or you're good with things are, you know?
I mean, it was tempting during this process, but ultimately, like the black and white one that you have, we went back to the original art, to the original files. Like I only changed the font of the title to make it consistent, because I had changed halfway through the series, from Anime Ace to Comic Craft Cutthroat. So yeah, and then the color editions, I had already kind of noodled and changed a few things in them. There's a few times where I changed dialogue or whatever, like for, you know, I took out the R word a couple times, and then like, should I have done it? I don't know. It's, you know, depends what day you ask me.
Right.
So I try to leave it alone. We all have the lesson, whatever, the example of George Lucas, you know, in our lifetimes. So it's just like, why go down that road?
Right.
It is great that you still have the ability to do that for your own work. It's like I love that it's still in your control and it's still yours to evolve.
Yeah.
And to
well, that's what I learned from Jim Lee and that cohort. You know, is like, own your stuff. Or from Jeff Smith. You know, from the previous generation in the '90s. Like that was drilled into my head. Like don't be like the guys from the '50s. Be like the guys from the '90s. Own your shit. So that was just kind of how I came into comics. Like that was the worldview I came in with.
And that's even more important.
Oh, now it's like, yeah, even it's infinitely in the opposite direction. Yeah, like no one owns anything, and we're all just like lucky if we get a job working for one of the big companies, like for peanuts, you know. So it's crazy. Yeah, I'm really lucky I got in when I did, and I got to kind of like, you know, like I said, like kind of navigate the field of bullshit and like trickery and traps, and I still somehow own, at least on paper, I own it. So yeah.
Do you have people asking you about that kind of thing? You meet younger cartoonists. Do they ask you about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, once in a while. Nothing. I don't know. I don't have any like serious. I'm not like a mentor to anyone right now or anything. So, you know, but if people are facing some, you know, whatever Netflix deal or whatever, so I've definitely been asked a few questions here and there.
I think this might be a good time, Steve, to crack open the question palooza. What do you think?
We got quite a few in here. They go from gigantic questions to, frankly, questions I don't understand.
I mean, I've been streaming a lot the past year. Like since our last time doing this, like I've streamed a whole bunch. I streamed a bunch last summer, and it's slowed down this summer because I've been busy. But yeah, so I'm familiar with some of these faces, and I'm familiar with the barrage of questions that can sometimes be like so obscure or like so. There's, you know, people have their own specific axe to grind in fandoms these days. So, you know, they'll just kind of keep asking the same things over and over.
Well, these are some. These might be some easy ones off the top. Like, okay, from Josh Gulisano on YouTube.
Do I have a favorite comic book letterer?
Favorite comic letterer?
Tom Orzechowski, yeah, all the way. He's the all-time great for me. His letter forms are just the perfect letter forms, and I love his sound effects too. So, you know, and then there's lots of mangaka and stuff that I'm very impressed with, but I don't speak Japanese. I don't read Japanese, so I don't really get the nuance of what they're doing so much. I love the design of it, but Orzechowski is just like so readable, so beautiful. You know, we have decades of his work on paper, like to, you know, pour over. So yeah, read old X-Men comics and you'll see the best lettering there ever was.
Great choice. Great choice. Thanks for the question, Josh.
Good question.
Do you have a favorite manga from this year?
From this year?
Yeah. Star Art on YouTube asks.
I think I've probably only read like 2 or 3 things like that are current. I don't know. I mostly read old ass stuff. There was this one, I can't remember what it's called now. Oh man, I'm so bad with names. Hold on, let me grab something off my shelf. I'm gonna turn off my camera for 1 second.
All right, cool.
Well, we had a question here as well. Let's we'll come back to that. Sanchi, what, this is such a big question. Like, what inspired you guys to make comics or doing art? That could be like a 5-part series. But Jamar, vamp until
it's my turn. Probably making my friends laugh. I think that was the biggest thing. Like, I just wanted to not necessarily impress them, but I enjoyed that you could control people's emotions with things that you do. And if I can make my buddies laugh, that, you know, that meant the world to me. You know, so that's kind of how I share with the world. You know,
that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. You're sweet. So what you got?
Okay, I have this book. I know I have it in English somewhere. It came out in English, but
I'm gonna give you the screen.
It's called Thunder 3.
Huh?
You can't really. It's not focusing.
We can kind of see it.
There it is.
Yeah. You can kind of see it. I need to open the shrink wrap, but this is it's hard. I need to show it to you because it's like the visual kind of trick of it is what is what. Have you seen this one?
No, but I'm excited.
It's not. I think it started coming out this year in English. I don't remember when I found the Japanese one, but it came out in English quite quickly after Japanese. Okay, let's see. Can I make it? Can you see the art?
Yeah, that looks pretty clear.
It's not focusing. I used to try to do kind of art book streams and stuff, and it never really focuses.
Yeah.
This damn camera. Come on, camera. Anyway, it's called Thunder 3. It starts out. This is not the first volume. Anyway, it starts out with like these kind of cutesy characters, like on the cover. They're kind of like a old school, like almost Tezuka look. And then at a certain point in the story, they kind of go into an alternate world where the art style is like extremely technical and detailed and realistic. And it's this insane meeting of art styles.
Huh.
Oh, this is a part where like the evil soldiers from the other dimension come into their cartoony world.
Oh,
So it's just like, it's crazy. I never thought of anything like that before. So yeah, it'll go from like realistic Tokyo cityscapes to like this kind of quaint 50s style cartooning. It's really impressive. I thought it was really cool.
Oh, that's neat. This seems fairly new, or is that?
Yeah,
is
that's
it
from
live?
this year. Yeah, this is
Okay.
recent.
Oh, that's fantastic. Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
That's great.
Go ahead, Steve. You got it.
And then thanks for the question, Sweet Star Art. D Parson, hello D. Out of curiosity, what do you think makes a comic series generation defining and globally recognized multimedia franchise like Scott Pilgrim has become?
I mean, that's a hard question for me to answer. I don't know. That's kind of like for someone else to answer. I don't know. I think I can only kind of speculate. But I don't know. There's something about kind of like the specificity of it and the sort of hangout vibe of it that has kind of helped it to hang on, I think. Because people all over the world who like, you know, live in whatever urban areas, like similar to where Scott Pilgrim lived, like they kind of just, they get it. Or, you know, now with the younger readers, it's like, oh, maybe this is a time like around the time you were born and that's interesting to you, you know, because I know I'm obsessed with like the late 70s because that's when I was born. And it's, you know, it's a time that I was born into, but I never really knew firsthand. So I think that always has like an inherent fascination. And then beyond that, I don't know, like just the characters for some reason have endured, even though some of them were pretty thin in the books. Like I think the movie obviously helped with that. Like, you know, when you have Chris Evans voicing your character, like it just kind of, or playing your character in live action, like it's just, it makes him have more of an impact. He leaves a little more of an impression. So yeah, I don't know, a lot of things have just kind of fallen into place for me. And yeah, I'm just I'm lucky in like a million different ways.
Yes, great. Thanks for the question, D. This question we touched on in the last episode a little bit. When you're deep into the TV series, do you ever feel a separation from your art once you get deep into the managerial corporate side?
I don't know. I don't know if I ever. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. Do I feel separation from my art? I think on some level, sure. But like when I was producing the show, it's like I'm fighting for my vision every step of the way, which is a form of art. I mean, or it's like it's having art in your head anyway and wanting to make sure that it makes it through the process. You know, and then like with the game, it's like it's a big collaboration and we're all, you know, trying to have fun. I think these days I try to make it more like, is my day fun? Is my day good? That's more important than like, is it art? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I'm just becoming boring. But when I dive back into comics, yeah, like that is a little more directly, you know, the art is flowing through the pen. Like that's real hands-on stuff. Like, yeah, and I do miss that. So I'm hoping to get back into that next. That's
great. Thanks for the question, Nether. We've got a couple more here. I think you mentioned one game that you're playing recently, but Milo on YouTube, have you been playing any new video games?
Let me see. I played a lot of Elden Ring Night Rain over the summer, which is like a multiplayer version of a big RPG that you play for 45 minutes with friends or with strangers. And I had a lot of fun with it for a few weeks. Most of the summer, I was just playing that mostly. I probably put 200 hours into that game.
Wow.
Just in little 45-minute increments. So it was a good one to have. And then, yeah, last week I started playing Dragon Quest III, which is a re-visualizing of the old NES game from like, I don't know, 1989 or something. So it's it's right in my wheelhouse in terms of like my favorite era, the late 80s, early 90s Japanese stuff. I never played this one back in the day, so it's new to me.
Are you going to finish that, or do you just like
I don't know,
kind of put your toes in it and then leave it?
I have a problem. Like I have a really bad memory. So if I leave this game for 4 weeks, then I will forget everything that's going on, and I'll never be able to go back to it.
Right.
That's what happened last time I tried a Dragon Quest, which was like 10, 12 years ago. I played Dragon Quest V on DS, and I played it for hours, like hundreds of hours maybe, and like I was only about halfway through the game. I put it down for a while, and I was just like, what was happening? What? Like, it's so long. The story's so involved. But no, I'm anticipating there's a re-release of Final Fantasy Tactics coming out in a couple days next week, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it looks really good.
Yeah.
Just kind of remastering it, and
Yeah.
I haven't played that game since '99 or whatever, whenever it came out.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm kind of like playing this in order to like kind of whet my appetite for a new old game.
I'm excited for Tactics.
And then I'm playing my own game. I realized today I have like 95 hours in my own game because I just have to play it constantly.
Right.
I
So
feel
you
like
kinda-
I'm the world's master at my game right now. So if like it's a multiplayer game, but if I like let someone play with me right now, it would be like my like little, sibling playing with me or something. They don't know how to use a controller. Like it would be such a mismatch.
I have a question about that before you go to the next thing, Steve. So with that, are you when you log on to play this, are you doing quality control, or are you just playing it to play it? Is it a mix? You know what I mean? How is that working out?
Yeah, it's kind of, since I'm writing it,
Yeah.
and it's like the game is like 90% fighting, 10% not fighting. So it's like, in order to see how the story is working, I just have to do a lot of fighting to get to the next point where there's dialogue. So I just like getting hands on with it and just seeing how it's sitting and just kind of feeling it out. So I just kind of run through a lot of it almost every day, and it's getting longer and longer because we have more content in the game.
Awesome. Thank you. Good, Steve.
Turnitine Forever over on YouTube. Are there any other game-inspired worlds you'd like to create a story about?
You mean like in the way that Scott Pilgrim is game-inspired? Like, I guess I don't really think of it that way, but yeah, I mean, there's, I'm obsessed with like the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games now, so I'm like, I just keep thinking I want to make something that feels like that, but we'll see.
Okay, this is there's some figure questions here, so you might have to walk me through some of these. Do you have a favorite figure variant from the newest Scott Pilgrim ISH bottleneck?
Oh, that's Ish.
Ish?
So he's this guy Justin Ishmael who he used to run Mondo. He was one of the founders of Mondo, but he kind of like left and then they kind of went corporate. So he's been doing his own thing. He does a lot of really interesting projects, and he's been kind of backing me on these for a couple years now. More than that, 6-7 years now. It takes a long time, and it took even longer this year because of geopolitics or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't know. They all look good. I don't have them in hand yet, so I couldn't tell you which one is my favorite. I've only seen photos from the factory and stuff, but they look really good. We did Knives Chow and Kim Pine, and then there's a Steven Stills that comes in a set with all of the band Sex Bomb. We've been doing these toys for a few years. I don't have any in hand's reach, but they're really cute, and
I happen to have one right here.
Oh, you have one right here?
Yeah.
I have them, but they're far away.
Yeah, this is all. Let me move my joint here. So
oh yeah. See, like he always wanted it to be like, oh, these are your toys. These are the ones that you design. Like that's kind of the selling point. Like no one, it's my vision that's the idea. But like I said, like I have a poor vision of my own style, so it's like I always kind of struggle a bit to feel like it's the kind of the ideal Scott Pilgrim or whatever. But I think we've established enough of a style with these figures that they kind of feel good to me. They feel like their own thing. Kim's hair looks good. The Knives Chow, like she comes with like the starry eyes, and it looks really cute. So I'm hoping they turn out really well, and I hope we can keep doing them. Oh yeah, Syndax has spent a lot of money. I saw he bought every single one. It was like $800 or something. So
oh my goodness, fantastic!
I love it.
Yeah, that I mean that's not my intention
Right.
for everyone to have to buy every single one. Like it's kind of
Mhm.
Justin's model. You know, he does it the way he used to do it at Mondo, which is like they'll do like a limited release with variants that come in limited quantities, and then the main one kind of persists, but the variants sell out pretty fast.
Can I do this next one, Steve? Because
Oh, yeah,
since we're
please.
talking about the toys, so John asks, do you think you can also extend the figure license to SH Figure Arts, Jax, or Figma? How are you feeling about?
I mean, I
rolling
love
this
those.
out? Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't. No one's asked.
Mm.
I was hoping more stuff would happen around the show, the anime, but nothing ever did. So at one point, a friend was going to introduce me to someone at SH Figure Arts, I think,
Mhm.
but that I didn't get around to that. And yeah, no, it's been easy. It's been easy working with Justin because I've known him for a long time. You know, and he just kind of has my back. So
Yeah, yeah,
you know, it's been kind of fun just doing our own thing.
yeah. And the stuff looks great, right? Like why why mess with something that's working? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't need another line of figures. I got my nub.
Love it. All right, Steve, you
Beautiful.
back up. Go ahead.
All right. Francis, on YouTube, can you name any artists that you've inspired and like seen real growth from? Anyone's
Oh, like younger people?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bad with the names. But there's probably been a lot over the years. I hate to kind of give myself that credit though.
Mhm.
Like I don't think anyone that I've inspired does like obvious Scott Pilgrim-ish work or anything like that. So I wouldn't say like I'm the big influence on anyone. Yeah, I don't know. I'm bad at remembering lists of things on the spot. So I don't have any specific examples, but I know they're out there, and I believe in them, and I believe in you too, Francis.
fantastic.
I love it.
There has to be a sort of a strange moment, I would imagine, when you meet a younger artist. And we've all met people who say, "Oh, I love your work. You're, you know, my favorite artist." But then you actually see someone who you know that you directly influenced,
Mm.
and they're producing not just like a fan, but you know, they're actually producing a volume of work.
Yeah,
They're in the- right. Mhm.
Yeah, like if you see Frank Thorne in someone else's work, and but you also see Bryan Lee O'Malley in someone else's work, right?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I see people cite me as a major influence, you know, alongside like you know, Rumiko Takahashi or you know, Jamie Hewlett, like,
Mm.
which is always kind of staggering. But yeah, I know I've been around long enough to come to terms with the idea that that I influenced people when they were young. And I might have been young too, or it might have been 6 months ago. And you know, and it has an impact on you if you're a certain age, if you're a certain temperament, like it can just kind of seep into your bones. So I know how it is, like for me with artists when I was a kid, like they just kind of hit me so hard at a certain age. So you know, all I can do is kind of be like, oh wow, I'm part of the great mystery, as I like to say.
Like that. Cool. All right, we're wrapping these questions up.
DE Minor DG on YouTube. Do you have any tips for someone who wants to get started on making comics? Like, how do you go about structuring a story?
We should do a round table about this one. I want to hear what Manley thinks about structuring a story. Like he does like 2 strips a day in an ongoing soap opera universe, 2 different soap opera universes. I mean, I don't know. I just kind of I wing it for the most part. Like with each book, I pretty much tend to plan about half of the story. And like if I have a vague idea of where I want to end, like that's pretty good. And if I go into any more detail than that, I tend to kind of get lost in the weeds a little bit. Because I like to just kind of have some room to improvise each day.
So when you do a book, do you thumbnail it all, or do you write it and then thumbnail it? Do you, you know, and then you go like, well, I got here, but now I need a bridge to get like certain things pop in your head. Oh yeah, I want to do, yeah, this is this part, but now I got to make this part hook up with this part. You know?
Yeah. I have fully scripted all the Scott Pilgrim books. I fully scripted, but then I would scratch out, 6 pages at a time and make up new stuff on the fly. It just helps me to have a blueprint. Otherwise I get lost. I get lost very easily. So, yeah. And then, with seconds, I did just an outline and I worked from that. And I never thumbnailed a whole book. I'll thumbnail like 20 pages at a time and just kind of move back and forth because I like to switch the tasks.
Yeah. I mean, doing something like The Phantom or Judge Parker. I mean, there were people doing it decades before I was born, right? So,
Yeah.
With something like that, it sort of has its own the rules to its universe, right? Which were not my rules, right?
Yeah.
But I recognize those rules. And there's certain rules of storytelling, like how you introduce a character, how you introduce a world. You have an event and then reveal how that event came to happen, and I was thinking about maybe one of the things that might be universal with Scott Pilgrim is there's that time between being a teenager and an adult.
Yeah.
Right? That is universal in all cultures, where you're sort of leaving something and you're finding something, and things are not defined, or things that you thought were defined end up being defined in a different way. One of the things that happened to me, this just came into my head. When I went back to college at 45, I was suddenly around people who were 20 years younger than me. And seeing how they navigated the world, which was all new to them, but was old to me, and seeing how they went through stuff that I sort of remember going through. But of course, the benefit of age and experience is that you can compare stuff. So maybe that's part of the magic, I think, because it makes it.
I mean, I think when I got to that age, when I was like 22, 23 and kind of like losing it, like I realized like there was not really a lot of literature to fall back on about that time period. And that's kind of like part of how Scott Pilgrim developed, is just like, what happens when you're 23. And I think Scott Pilgrim has kind of like filled like kind of a micro niche for like stories about being 23. Like it was a underexplored corner of the fictional world, I think.
Right, because when you think about most long form stories, it's like the hero's journey or whatever. You're a person, you leave, you go on your adventure, or something happens to you and transforms you. But this is not. It was not as direct as that. You know what I mean? It was more fumbling, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it was like every anime manga, like the protagonist would be like 17 years old, and I always found that like so comical at times. Like, and it's a well-known trope. But yeah, I wanted to do something that just felt more down to earth, down to like what I knew at the time, and I was that age, so I got to write firsthand about it. That's part of why like I don't like the idea of revisiting or rewriting Scott Pilgrim, rebooting it, because like it's just like, I would have a totally different perspective on it, which is how I wrote the show, but it's like it doesn't have the energy. Like I was always very concerned that I had to finish Scott Pilgrim in my 20s, because I knew I would change after that. And everything changes. So
yeah. I mean, that totally makes sense, because there were things, like I said, that I experienced and re-experienced going back into that situation where you're people just coming out of high school, going into their early adults, finding about themselves, finding about the world, awkward, you know, ugly duckling, whatever, all that stuff. And it was sort of interesting to be in that world, sort of what was it, Peggy Sue Got Married or whatever, where you go back and you go back in time. And it was interesting to see it because you're sort of like an observer and you have the perspective. So it's sort of interesting to observe it in that way, which is not something that you usually would get a chance to do.
Yeah, I have thought about it from that angle. Like it would be fun to write a story like in the Peggy Sue Got Married mold, where it's like, or Back to the Future, where it's like seeing, you know, or going back to your own past, going back to college, going back to high school, like that sort of thing. Like I feel like that's the only way I could really approach a high school or college age protagonist, is like to kind of do some kind of weird time twisty thing like that.
Yeah, because there's some things that are universal, and then there's some things that are different. Because, you know, when I was that age, there was no social media, there was no, all that stuff is very different. So there's these other pressures along with the pressures of the things that I experienced. There's this there's the pressure of kind of like maintaining authenticity when you're not actually a teenager, you're not 20 anymore, and you don't really know what they're going through in the specifics, because it's all about the specifics. So yeah, that's why we always need a new generation of people to write the teen stories. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's wrap up these questions so now I can go pee.
All right. What's your favorite art medium, or what art medium would you want to learn but haven't been able to get into for whatever reason? From Marco the Coolest on YouTube.
I don't know. I found that I wasn't good at most art mediums, like in school, other than drawing. So like I've never been good with paint. I was thinking the other day, I wish I could sculpt, because like when I draw, I'm definitely kind of like trying to, you know, sculpt the 3D space in a 2D way. And it's like, maybe that would be, or I was like looking at like, you know, kids doing Blender or whatever these days, like they'll start using this 3D software and like a week later they're making these incredible, like beautiful things. I don't even understand how that would even work. I've never tried it.
You have an iPad?
I do have an iPad somewhere. Yeah.
I recommend Nomad Sculpt.
Nice.
I was never a sculptor.
Yeah,
but
Steve.
Wow.
I'm a cartoonist, so I know what things are supposed to look like. You know,
volume. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I feel like I could do it. Like it's in my bones, but I've never tried.
It's like clay, but it has like cheating functions, sort of like symmetry, where you can hollow out an eye orbit or pull an ear out. And
that's cool.
So, and check it out, Nomad. I think it's like $8 or something like that. It's super cheap, no subscription fee, but dive in.
That's a nice like low pressure way to do it.
Yeah, super easy. Yeah, it's got none of the depth of Blender. You don't have animation or anything like that, and you know it's super pared down, but really lovely.
That's really cool.
All right.
Glad I asked.
This is probably not happening, but how would you feel if Scott Pilgrim was in Super Smash Flash 2, Super Smash Brothers Crusade, or Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl?
I don't know. I mean, people used to debate because he's from a comic, he's not from a video game, so he's not a legitimate video game character. But I don't know. Now he is got another game, so maybe he's more legitimate. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really play those games, so I get why people are excited about them. It would be cool to have Scott Pilgrim in any game, honestly. Like just put him everywhere. You know. It'll make so many people mad, and that's fun.
Billy Bob on YouTube. I didn't get to ask at San Diego Comic-Con, but I was wondering if Brian could tell us anything about the difficulty levels, if there are any, in Scott Pilgrim EX.
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about the game.
Yeah, they're in the chat too.
There are different levels. I mean, there are difficulty levels. That's all I'll say.
There you go. Nice.
You know, the old game got a lot of flack for being like insanely hard, because Jonathan, the game designer, is just like old school that way. So yeah, he did put difficulty levels in, and they're coming in very handy as I have to play the game over and over and over and over. So like sometimes I'll play on, you know, the hardest mode, sometimes I'll play on the easy mode because I just want to rush through everything.
I was wondering if
They're all fun.
I was wondering in the process, like, do they give you the ability to bookmark a spot so you can just jump to this narrative section, or do you have to?
I wish. No, I literally have to start at the beginning. Like it doesn't break if I load a save. Like, so if I'm on level 5 one night and then they update the game overnight, I can still start at level 5. But usually I'm like, I got to check out what's going on in the first 3 levels. Like, so it's the same as it was in the anime. Like, I just have to like go through it over and over and over.
Wow.
You have cheat codes, like you get to play as Bill Clinton, like in.
No, I don't have anything. They didn't give me any God mode or anything like that. But it's fine. Like, I'm just, like I said, I'm amazing at the game right now, so it's really fun. I'm like learning all these nuances of it. It's a really well designed fighting system. So, you know, if the story sucks, then you'll still have a fighting game.
You know,
Go ahead.
because going back to that person's question about structuring a story, how many short stories did you do before you did a long story?
Oh, that's a good question. I did sort of ramp up. Yeah, like I did a lot of like 1-pagers and short, kind of like maybe 12 or 15 pagers early on. And then I drew a book for someone else, which was about 90, 100 pages, something like that, which took the better part of a year at the time. And then my first book was 160 pages, all in graphic novel. It was originally supposed to be 4 issues. So I kind of had it broken down that way. So that I think that helped to have it thought of it as 4 parts. And then I moved right on to Scott Pilgrim. So yeah, I didn't do as many short stories and things as I probably should have. But I just had this kind of big idea and I just sort of hit the ground running with it.
Did your editor give you feedback, or did you just give it the whole thing?
Not a ton of feedback. I gave them the script, I think. Like I had a full script for volume 1. And I think it stayed relatively faithful to the script, but it's just about how I kind of executed it. And I drew the book really fast, so that was only a few months process back then. You know, within 6 months, like from January to July, I think I wrote and drew the entire first volume, 160 pages.
Wow.
I know. I hate it. I hate even mentioning it. Like it's so much too good to be true at this point in my life. Like I wish I could do a book that fast.
Well, you had to, right? I mean, that was the thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't make any money for doing that either, so I don't know what I was thinking, but I mean, I made baseline like enough to live, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, that's a real part of comics. You know, is people doing things because they have to, right?
Yeah. That's a big part of not doing comics in my older age, is not having to do comics.
Right.
No one's forcing me. No one's got a gun to my neck, and I'm not going to starve if I don't do a comic. Like the reason to finish Scott Pilgrim Volume 1 was to start other jobs, because Scott Pilgrim Volume 1 paid so poorly that I just had to like go do other stuff. I got a job right after finishing it, but like I had to be full-time on that book if I was ever going to get it done.
Right.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that until you're in the pool and you're swimming, you know, you're either going to paddle or you're going to drown. That's the real learning. That's the real world thing, whether you sort of figure out whether you can do it, you know, whether you're going to get a lung full of water every once in a while.
Yeah, it's not just can I draw this whole book. It's like, can I draw this book instead of sitting on the couch, like on any given day? Like, you know, if doing nothing is way better than drawing comics. So if I can convince myself to draw a comic instead of doing nothing, like that's a win every single time.
Fantastic. We got one last question here. BK Knight 36 on the YouTube. Question for everyone. With the success of manga and books like Scott Pilgrim, do you feel more publishers should encourage black and white books?
I don't know. I mean, we've had many moments where black and white was kind of in. Scott Pilgrim, I kind of took advantage of the Tokyo Pop explosion, the manga explosion in the early 2000s, and I kind of copied their format. So there's that. I mean, with books, you know, the future book I'm working on, like I'm like, should I make it black and white? Like there is like sort of what's the word I want? Like a rawness, a realness to black and white that I really like. But to some people, it's seen as like amateurish or unfinished. So it's hard to say. I guess I'll see what my publisher thinks. But you know, aesthetically, I like both. When I flip through the Scott Pilgrim black and whites, like it's a totally different experience, and it's a little more raw. It's a little like kind of darker and muddier. Like it's like playing Nintendo games on a CRT versus playing them on like a fancy new screen where it's all crisp. Like I don't know, there's just something analog and tactile about it.
Love that.
All right, let me turn the thing off. You did it. Good.
No, you did it.
Good job. That was great, and thanks for the chat. Mal, you did it. We got through this episode.
Hell yeah.
How are you feeling about, especially you get your Green Masters jacket after being on here 3 times?
Is it green? I thought it would be a bucket hat. You should make those. You should give away the custom bucket hats for the show.
Green custom bucket hat.
Don't tip me.
It's got to be extra large though.
Well, we are part of the Big Head
Bucket Hat Club.
Yeah, all right. I'll make that happen. Guys, before we say goodnight to Brian, Mal, is there anything you want to plug besides all these other things we just talked about? Or maybe something that people aren't thinking about that you need them to think about before we say goodnight?
Let me see. I feel like I already plugged everything I've been into this year. You can still watch Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. It's on Netflix, equipped televisions everywhere. Netflix toasters. There's also a movie, still pretty good. I feel like I watched it recently. There's some stuff coming out that people will be happy to hear about pretty soon. The toys were already ordered, so they'll be shipping out eventually. The game is I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but 2026, first early-ish 2026, not January though. Yeah, I don't know. I've been basically working on the game every day lately, just kind of finalizing all the text because it has to go out for translation and localization.
Yeah.
So I've been a little stressed, just kind of like making sure everything makes sense. Usually, you know, in comics, I kind of wait until the last minute to make it make sense, like because you can always change the lettering at the last minute, but it's a lot harder in this setting. So so I'm struggling to let go right now of the scripting on this kind of thing. And hopefully when I do let go, I'm supposed to do a comic for the game, so that's gonna be my next comic, a mini comic that'll come with the limited run edition of the game. So that is the next thing I'll have to do.
Amazing.
And after that, I hope to get back to work on my book.
I love it. Man, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. This was always fantastic, and thanks to your legions of fans who always come in on the slipstream. I love it. Guys, we do this every week. Are you kidding? You can get this. I guaranteed in the chat, if you subscribe to Pencil, you will never be bored again.
Subscribe.
Not on a Wednesday.
Not on Wednesday at 8:00 p.m. EST.
Go subscribe now while you're thinking about it.
Yeah, before we fizzle out. Thank you so much. So
I'm going to try to stream again soon. I've just been so busy on the game, but I've been doing a lot of streams. Like I said, I draw on stream, chat with the chat, and we have a lot of fun. And I've done so many little drawings in the past year, like more than I have in years of my life, so decades really.
I love it, and that's on your Twitch, right?
Yeah, Twitch, BRYAN LEE O'MALLey.
So wait a minute, hold on. You've been doing things on Insta too, haven't you? Didn't I see you go live?
No, not for a while, because they I tried once, but they shut down. They shut down my stream because I was playing some music or something.
Oh yeah, that's
correctly.
That's right.
On Twitch, I can play whatever I want. They just won't rebroadcast it, but while it's live, I can do whatever I want. So
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna haunt your stream soon. It's always fun. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna say goodnight. Before we get out of here, there's a thing we do, and Mal, I don't know if you remember, guys. A guy with winged hair told me that we're in the end game. I don't know if that sounds right. But I would be remiss if we ended this program without telling you to wash your Kirby hands. Let's see some Kirby hands, Brian. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's a good one. A nice flat fingers. I love it. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good night. See you next week.